up is Jody Isaacs.
I completed a PowerPoint on increasing funding for public education, which will help economic growth for Augusta County. The reality. The reason why, well, and I wanted to start off too, I read the article in the newspaper about the shovel-ready, I guess it was the Mill Creek or something, and trying to attract new business. And so then I did a little bit of research on the internet looking for what new business is looking for before coming to a county. And this is what I came up with. Augusta County is not as attractive as neighboring counties for relocating new industry and people. My proof for that is that companies that are relocating look for an existing educated workforce, skilled labor force with strong vocational training, and quality public education, which is number one. And I approved from Dr. Pirelli's. He wrote an opinion letter, which I believe I forwarded to all of you all, that had an email address back in the spring. And he's talking about Waynesboro, but we fall behind Waynesboro with our funding for schools. I'll read it to you. It says, with retirement of my former partner, Dave Burgess, my practice has been down a doctor since May 1st, 2011. It is difficult for an orthopedic practice to see as many patients as need to be seen when it loses 20% of its workforce. We've been trying hard to replace Dr. Burgess's position since late 2009, when he first made his plans known. We have interviewed many candidates, most of whom have small children. Unfortunately, it's difficult to convince young couples who value good schools to choose Waynesboro, easily put in Augusta County, when they see how alarmingly little our school system spends per pupil. Expenditures per pupil in Waynesboro are 32nd out of 36 city school systems in Virginia. We've had 2 candidates come agonizingly close to joining us this year, only to lose one to Charlottesville and the other to Richmond. The number one factor for families relocating is the quality of schools. It is unethical for realtors to give advice about schools. As a result, they recommend different websites. The 2 most popular sites giving buyers information are School Digger and Grade Schools. These sites list test score information, spending per pupil, and demographics. They then rank each school using a number scale, 1 through 10 for grade schools and 1 through 5 for School Digger. The state of Virginia, as you probably have read, may soon start grading schools using an A's through F's, which would be easy, very easy information for people to understand. I am sure SOL's test scores will be a determining factor for these grades. If this is the case, many Augusta County schools will not receive very good grades from the state. My children attend Clymore. Grade Schools gives Clymore a score of 3 out of 10 with a 35% free and reduced lunch population. The closest Rockingham County school to Clymore is South River Elementary in Grottoes. Grade Schools give South River a score of 9 out of 10 with a free and reduced lunch population of 48%. Rockingham County's local government spends $712 more per pupil than Augusta County's local government, basically a third more than Augusta County. The next closest elementary school to Clymore is McSwain in Stanton. They have a score of 6 out of 10 with a free and reduced lunch population of 45%. Stanton's local government spends $894 more per pupil than Augusta County. For a family moving to the area or buying their first home, Augusta County schools do not look desirable. A similar comparison of local funding could be made with our neighboring districts. Albemarle, $4,615 more funding per pupil. Rockbridge, $1,672 more in funding per pupil. Stanton, $894 more funding per pupil. Rockingham, $712 more, and Waynesboro, $453 more. The Virginia Commonwealth Education Poll, which was just released, finds that the majority of Virginians support increased spending for K-12 schools. 64% of Virginians say that Virginia schools do not have enough funds to meet their needs. They are willing to pay more in taxes to keep public schools funded. This information shows, and also the the survey that you all did, that homeowners are willing to pay higher taxes for better schools. A prime example is the growth in Rockingham County. Their tax rate is 12 cents higher per $100 than Augusta. Their schools are outperforming Augusta County, and they have experienced smart growth while keeping a rural atmosphere. Here's a graph. The blue is spending per pupil with state, local, and federal money. And then the red shows just the local funding from you all. Augusta County is lagging far, far behind.
It's saying $3,365 per pupil.
I can't see.
Is that about what that is?
Yes.
Just clarify.
Last year, Mr. Patty said the state needed to fund more. We went back and forth quite with emails, and it's the state, we put pressure on the state. I agree with that, but I feel as if you all need to support our schools the same way Rockingham, Rockbridge, Stanton, and Waynesboro does. So I don't think you put the blame on the state when you're underfunding our schools locally. Our Board of Supervisors need to fund the same as our neighboring communities. What makes it okay for Augusta County to be the only county in the region to fund so low? It's not okay. You need to fund our schools as much as the other counties in our region. There is no excuse for you not investing in our youth. And this may seem a little bit wordy, but it's from my heart.
You're going to read it all?
I'm going to read it all, and you're going to listen. It says, the lack of funds and little support that Augusta County gives our schools is unconscionable. The future of Augusta County is at stake. You will someday have to explain to your grandchildren why their houses are worth so little, why they didn't get accepted into a good college, and why they can't find a job. Funding our schools is imperative for the success of future generations. Our seniors graduating from Augusta County schools who plan to attend college in the fall will be at a disadvantage on the first day of classes. The college and university system, Mr. Patty knows this, revolves around email, Microsoft, Apple, and the web. It's a shame that a large part of the county does not have high-speed internet and that our teachers and students aren't equipped with the latest technology. The district's present computer system is old and needs replacing, but we have no money to upgrade. Many of our seniors don't have an email address and have never navigated an email service. Our seniors have not been able to utilize the technology in today's world because Augusta County schools can't afford to provide it. You owe those seniors an apology for not supporting education in the 21st century. Many may say that Augusta County is a rural community. Yes, it is. But have you talked to a young farmer today? Educated farmers use their iPads and smartphones to control and manage their fields. This technology results in better profits and higher yields. Rural communities need 21st century tools to succeed. I have trust that Dr. Bishop will make sure these added dollars will help increase student achievement. He comes from one of the top performing school districts in the state that has a long-standing reputation for excellence in academics, extracurricular activities, and leadership development. He knows what it takes to be successful. Please give him the funding to do the job he came to Augusta County to do. Increasing funding for our schools will produce a workforce that is skilled and well-educated. These factors will attract new business. This increase in funds will aid in community growth, safety, and quality of life. Thank you.
If I could, I gave you a little latitude there because I see you put a lot of work into this, but there's a number of people that want to speak here, so if you could limit your comments to 5 minutes, as close as you can, I appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to interject a comment here because I feel that it's prudent. There's 2 points. Number one, we did increase, I don't know where that young lady went. We did increase funding to public schools last year to the tune of $3 million.
It wasn't enough.
When the schools came to us, if we could hold it down, when it came to a request, we met that request. I spoke with Mr. Bright earlier, and he told me he has a budget of $800 teach his daughter for the senior year that she's gonna spend at homeschooling. We spend $3,365 per pupil per year slide. And we continually put in more money. This board cares. Ma'am, I didn't interrupt you.
Mr. Crawford, if we could have a public hearing first. I know you want to interject, but, and I'm going to give everybody an opportunity at the end of the public hearing, but I don't want to get into a discussion with every person who comes up here. Next up is Georgia Avis Long. Ms. Long.
I'm not a rental car, it's Aldous Long.
Aldous, I apologize.
If I were a rental car, believe me, I wouldn't be here.
I
I'd have nothing
apologize.
to say about it. All right, excuse me. Georgia Aldous Long from 14 New Hope and Cremora Road. I'm going to provide my thoughts to you guys with a slightly different spin. At least one of you sitting up here should understand where I'm coming from and follow this with no problems. On February 8th, the headlines of the Virginian pilot read, Virginia workers, part-time hours capped due to health care law. Virginia pays more than 37,000 workers by the hour. Over 7,000 work at least 30 hours a week, qualifying for the federal health care law's coverage requirement. Providing benefits would cost as much as $110 million a year, all because of Obamacare. I have worked with the Attorney General's office on Obamacare, and I'm seeing its effects in my profession as a nurse. I'm also seeing private businesses tighten the hours of their employees and create compensating practices to increase productivity. Local governments, such as ours in Augusta County, will have to pursue cost-cutting measures like those in the private sector. The tax base cannot sustain anything different. That is why the Augusta County Board of Supervisors has no choice but to ask the school system to justify its requirements in detail. This is why the school system must practice more cost-efficient means to deliver better education. In my profession, the hospital cannot provide services without nurses. The same applies to schools and teachers. One important aspect is reduction of operational overhead. Increasing government regulation means that the overhead reduction has to come from within, and that the schools have to more efficiently utilize the facilities that they have. Otherwise, we will have a lot of costly buildings with lower paid teachers. That's not improving education. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Long.